News event.
Oh, we're
We are
live.
live, 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 live.
Hey. Hey,
And
everybody.
YouTube, and last but always not least, Twitch. Always the last one to go
Hey.
live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Titular Heads. We got John and we got Jason. We're going to be here talking about just stuff because, well, we've both been away. Well, I've been away on a bunch of traveling and different things, and
Mhm.
we don't have a lot to talk about. I am getting a lot of feedback hearing myself. So, are you using your headphones there, John?
Yep, I am.
For some reason, I'm hearing myself in an echo. I don't know why.
Kindly give me a
Makes
second.
either you or me. I don't know. But of course, if you haven't done something for a while, you're going to have issues. So maybe it's on my side, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, did you have the stream open somewhere? Maybe that's bleeding through. Now I can't hear you at all, John. You've gone mute.
Sorry about that. I just
Ah,
had to
there we
make
go.
sure
There we
that
go.
that wasn't me.
Whoa, whoa!
So I had to
I
reset some of my things.
can really hear
I can
myself
really hear
now.
myself now.
Sorry about that.
We made it
We made it
worse.
I just had
worse.
to reset a couple of things.
He's got his
He's got his
outies and
outies and any.
Uh,
Uh,
There we go. That should work.
that should work. Hey, I can't hear myself. I still can hear myself, but just quieter now.
Huh.
It's your
Okay.
super mic, man. That super mic that picks up everything. Probably picking up from your headphones.
Probably.
All right. Well, like I said, we're Titular Heads, John and Jason. So John's working on his audio a little bit, so he's a little silent. For the last month, though, been doing some traveling and then getting things set up. So had death in the family. Had to travel to Oregon from Missouri. Quite the journey. If you ever get a chance to drive through Wyoming, I recommend it. It's a pretty area, and Idaho also. Idaho's not too bad. First time really in Eastern Oregon. Eastern Oregon is kind of flat, and then it gets hilly. Big, tall, just like beanpole trees. It's pretty impressive. Now they had huge fires just within the last few years, so there's huge areas that are burned up, but they're cleaning up the woods and replanting and everything out there. So it's going to be better, but it's 60-year-old forest or whatever that burned.
Wow.
Everybody's got their theories there. Nobody believes they were naturally occurring. They think it's just about
Man
everybody I
clearing, you think?
talked to. No, they think it was arson. So just
Yeah.
about everybody I talked to was like, no, that was arson. They keep saying and trying to blame the power company in this. There was like 32 fires started in 3 days. So
Whoa.
that doesn't seem like, oh, the power line caused the fire when you have 32 in 3 days. So they all think it's people who basically there was a big protest in Portland. Those people leave. Afterward, there's huge fires, 32 fires set around Oregon. So most of the people I spoke to in the area of Oregon I was think that people lit the forest on fire on their way out of Oregon. Just because people are evil fucks.
Yep. What was the speculated motive? Just protest?
Who
Or
knows? People like to catch things on fire. Right? Some people just like to watch the world burn. Isn't that the
Uh, with
But
current world events, perhaps, yeah.
you never know. There's a crazy person born every day. Um,
Uh, I can't believe I'm one of them.
I can't believe I'm one of them.
One of us. There's some.
Besides that, had a lot of stuff going on around the house, been taken care of, which it's project, but it's coming along. Like,
How's it
um,
going? Yeah.
pretty good.
What?
So my girlfriend bought this house, right? And I moved in, and we're trying to make
Right.
things better around the house. And so the backyard is just a trash heap. Not not because anything we did. Like the previous people who set it up back there, they put in these
Hmm.
walking stones, did it incorrectly, got rocks all over the place for these walking paths.
Ooh.
But it's just
Right.
ugly. We have a lot of leaves. It's impossible to freaking maintain. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we've been tearing that out. And my girlfriend's brother came over and he helped us out,
Hmm.
and he was really happy about that, which was really good to see. So um,
That's
he
nice.
he helped pull out all the heavy concrete things. They're like concrete, like 2 inches of concrete, and then bricks on top of that, and that's what they
Oh.
made these walk things. And there's about, I don't know, 150 of them in our backyard. So we're pulling
Uh
them
huh.
up, stacking them, and just trying to get them up. And then we got to level the whole yard, and so make it so you could just run through it with a lawnmower easier. Like make life
Right.
easy. And that's one of the biggest things I could recommend to anybody who's doing any backyard thing is like try to figure out how you make life easy. It may be cool to have the gazebo, but think you're gonna have to mow around the gazebo. You're gonna have to do stuff around the gazebo. Um, and if you have grass, I don't recommend
Hmm.
rocks. Like, don't have grass and rocks intermixed. It's just bad. It's like
Well,
shooting bullets. Just bullets of rocks flying all over the place when you're trying to mow. It's no good.
I can only imagine. I'm similar to you. Also, we're also having some parts of our house also done.
Hmm.
We have actually workers at the moment, just working on our kitchen, just beautifying it a little bit more. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
because yeah, because even this, because the sister actually likes cooking a lot. So, our big
So
sis kind
we
of,
getting before and after photos or what?
uh, uh, it, okay, yeah, maybe, yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'll probably prepare that.
we got to see the update. I guess I should have done the same in the back. Took some before and afters, and it'd be like home projects.
Yeah,
We can compare ours.
yeah. Oh my god. Dude, you know that we're actually getting older if we're so happy about home projects now.
Totally. Uh, Jackie, my girlfriend, she told me she's all like, "You're like living the king of the hill dream right now," and I'm like, "I kind of am. Like, I'm digging this suburban dude. Like, I planted grass seed in the
Uh-huh.
grass, and watered it and rinsed off the house and cleaned all the mold and stupid stuff. Like it's just
Right,
home
right.
stuff, but it feels good. It
Yeah.
feels good to be
Yeah.
like I'm doing
I
stuff at
was
the house. I'm making things better.
I was gonna ask you if that's something that you kind of enjoy doing. Like a lot of those lawn work, planting stuff,
So
etc. Because
I enjoy it when it's mine, but it's
uh,
not something I would enjoy doing for other people.
oh man,
Like if that makes sense.
that does so make sense. In fact, it takes you kind of learn to appreciate those people who actually does it for other people because you know they're beautifying somebody else's home, somebody else's yard. It's something that they won't be able to enjoy, but they're paid
Mhm.
to do.
And
Whereas in comparison, when you know you're the one doing it for yourself, of course there's some sort of satisfaction to
yeah.
that, right? Yeah. So
Uh,
I-
uh,
I'm I'm glad to hear that. Go ahead.
Another thing, just so you're aware, John, is we did do the internet upgrade here at the house, and
Mm-hmm.
I got to switch it back to 1080p and turn the bit rate up. We have
Right.
0 drop frames. Hey,
Oh, that's beautiful.
unlike before, we were dropping all over the place. So we're a whole lot smoother, and
Hmm.
that's amazeballs.
Um, I feel you with that though, because it's similar to how my old setup was. Like, m- it was fiber X cable,
Mm,
and to your point, right? Not every place in the planet has access to fiber, right? So it's
yeah, I wish we had fiber here. We got cable. Um,
mhm,
okay, anybody out there? This is a
tip.
I don't know public service announcement. This is a PSA for everybody out there. If you have cable internet, don't use their leased router. Go buy a router. Like if you look on their
Hmm.
webpage, it'll say what routers they support. Go buy your own, like a Netgear good router, because they use the
Hmm.
cheapest junk routers
Yep.
ever. They got like no RAM, no processing power. They end up
Hmm.
dying half the time, basically. You're
Yep.
100% better buying your own router and using it. Plus, then they can't like go into your router, it's yours. So you have more control over your security for your networking. Just get your own router. And if
Yep.
you want to do any
They,
at home server stuff or host multiplayer games with your friends, having your own router is going to help out a lot too, because you can do all the port forwarding that way. A lot of these cable companies, they won't even let you like use any of the options on the router. So buy your own router. You'll have much better speeds, more consistency, and much less packet loss. Because when you have that slow part in between, your packets get just dropped, and that's what slows down your internet more than anything.
Thanks for that, Jason. You heard that here first, folks. If you have cable internet, get your own router.
Yeah. Titular
Yeah.
heads tech tips.
Yeah. I'm I'm gonna snip that. That teaches me you how to buy your own router, connect to the cable.
So with the projects going on around the house, I'm going to do. I'm going to throw this up on the screen.
Go for it.
So 30-second outdoor cleaner. It
Mhm.
is the bee's knees. This stuff. I went out and sprayed the house because we have like algae and stuff growing, on the outside. Our house is pretty shaded.
Uh-huh.
Spray it on. 3 minutes later, it's like gone, and you just rinse it and rinse it all off. This
Oh,
stuff
sweet.
works amazingly well. I used it on the vinyl fence that's like between us and the neighbors, and it did pretty good there. It wasn't as good on the vinyl fence as the vinyl siding, but if you have vinyl siding, you got crap growing up the sides, the 30-second
Cleaner.
cleaner. They ain't paying me or nothing because, we average like 3 live views, and so nobody's paying us for nothing. But it's awesome. I highly recommend as a home product. I'm getting into
Yeah.
home products a whole lot more now that we're like it's springtime and there's all the home projects we're doing.
Right.
So that's one I can put the you know titular heads recommend.
You you know, aside from just doing this stream, one of the things that I kind of like is whenever you talk about these things, I kind of learn too, because I'm I may be a home buddy, but I don't I barely do stuff at home. Like most of the things that I do, it's like okay, I just pay somebody to do it for me, kind of deal.
Yeah, and you
So
guys don't get too bad house like algae and whatnot growing on the outside, right? Because all the salt in the air.
in a sense, yes, but it's also because of I think probably with how the now that I'm thinking about it, I think we still get some of the algae actually, because our place is like near a canal system,
Uh,
like literally behind us, and it's kind of cool because that canal system kind of turns into a river. Because what happens is when it rains, our place is like by the slightly elevated by the mountain foot of the mountain basically. So
Right.
water from the mountain just streams down behind our house, and it just turns into a river. So you kind of hear the sound of the river of like the sound of gushing water right behind you, and then
John
it
John lives
tends to
on stilts.
overflow. No, I don't. Our place for the record is slightly elevated. So um
On
yeah.
stilts. I just I
Well,
know it's like it's a little bit racist because I know you live in the
yeah.
Philippines and whatnot. But anytime you're talking about your house, I know it's just like a normal house. I in my head is like an island bungalow on stilts. And like I know it's not, but not even like on the like up in the hillside, like your little island
Yeah.
bungalow, with
Yeah.
the thatch roof and everything.
Oh my god, you asshole.
Right? That's what I imagine your house where you live. Like that's John's house.
It's so funny because it's such you painted a picture in my head of a shanty house, and you can imagine like somebody with a room there that has like a massive rig just talking noise.
Not a
you,
shanty. I'm not talking about like you're not like living in a Connex box. Like not something like that. What I mean is, you see those like picturesque island bungalows where they're made out of like bamboo and
oh
thatch.
right,
That's
right,
what I'm talking about. Like you got this
right.
bamboo thatch, like really nice bungalow.
But man, you can only imagine if things if it storms,
Yeah.
houses built on stilts will fly, and it happens frequently here, dude. I've been living in this place for what almost whole my entire life. The Our place is built solid, man. We've outlived so many typhoons, and the damages in the place is just minimal. Even earthquakes. Whoever is the architect of this place, I guarantee you should hire him. Like,
You should hire him. The house is like
thir-
what, 40 years old or something? Like
dude, nah, it's
older than
literally
that?
my
Oh,
age. Yeah,
that's
32.
it's 32. He's
Yeah.
actually
So
48, but he likes to say he's 32.
no, yeah, I look younger than what I actually my actual age. So there's
You,
that. It's
you
the
look
Asian
like a
genes,
guy who
man.
really likes fish pops, is what you look like.
What? What? How, what's that supposed to mean?
Your avatar. That's what you look like.
Avatar?
Yeah, your
Oh,
VTube avatar.
dude, you know what? I totally forgot I was actually VTubing. So
I
I was like,
know.
oh,
That's why I think
like,
it's funny. You're like how I look. Like all people have the references. You're like, yeah, you do look young.
you're killing me, Jason. You're killing me.
You look like an anime character. They always look young.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I get that compliment a lot. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. We have the age reveal.
The age reveal.
I've I've always hidden that I didn't want people to know because I'm old, man.
So, what have
So
you been up to besides kitchen
yeah,
remodeling?
yeah. So aside from kitchen remodeling, there's a lot of studying going on. So first and foremost, of course, I've been studying a lot about social media and content creation. Because, of course, one of the things that we want to do is to reach more. Um, Usually, in a lot of YouTube channels, it's always established to figure out what your niche is and then build upon it. Um, the thing there is, especially when you're starting off as a YouTuber, sometimes you just don't know what niche actually works. It's usually the market that dictates what the better niche is for you. So, one strategy that I kind of find out is to dish out as many content as possible. There was one crazy YouTuber who just did what 8 videos in a day.
Yeah, the
All
overload principle, where
yeah,
you
yeah,
just get so much out with so many different tags and so many different subjects
but
that
right,
they interchange with each other. Because if you can get somebody to watch one video, there's a chance that
right.
they're going to get recommended more of your videos.
Hmm.
I've clicked
And then
on
from
somebody once in YouTube, and because they have so much content, it was like all
mhm.
I got. Like just constantly getting all their stuff, and I'm like, I clicked on one video, like, and never seen the same
Yeah,
video twice in the recommends.
the 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 algorithm of YouTube works that way. Like once you click and like one, it will always recommend at least one of their videos into your, say for example, after a video finishes, right? Like you got several videos up your
Yeah,
face you have to select from. That's the algorithm just doing that. And it's you you with so many videos dished out, you have a data set to pull from and you will see the number of views that are relatively higher. Then you can concentrate on that sort of topic. Like you
mm,
can gravitate toward that. And that will determine the type of niche that you want. And then what you want to do is you still want to do some sample data sets. Like, okay, you want to explore on other topics that you might want to talk about. So you kind of dish out more, quantity type videos. But you're when you're slowly building your niche, you want to focus more on that, and that's where the quality content starts building upon. Like you kind of improve your your videos based on that higher view count niche that you found.
mm.
So it's very interesting. And that's something that I've kind of like, okay, I'm testing out on and then playing around with.
Well,
But
that works. I
on
mean, it's a big part of it too. Is something yeah, really like you like talking about, or
yeah, exactly.
nobody wants to hear
It's fun.
anybody talk about something they don't give a crap about.
It's finding the balance of both. So, um yeah, so say for example, I'll give you a really good example. In my data set of videos, it's very interesting to find that on YouTube, I get more views for my Warhammer videos as opposed to Facebook. In Facebook, I get more views for my Resident Evil videos. So, you kind of like figure out, okay, for YouTube content, maybe you want to build more on the Warhammer side. And on Facebook, maybe you want to build on some of those action RPG side. So it's weighing
See,
in the scales for you and like
this is where I kind of understand though why most creators only focus on one platform,
yeah.
because you're talking basically, well, then make double content, right?
Mhm.
If you're doing that, like one's probably going to suffer. Like one piece of content's going to suffer for the other, and if you're
Right.
splitting, like it may be better on Facebook for the Resident Evil and YouTube
Mhm.
for that, but
Warhammer, yeah.
how do you don't want to just do two halves. Like it's still, I think personally, better to have less videos that are higher quality,
Quality, yes.
which is something we've been working on. Our live stream quality, getting the set
Yeah.
together better. And I think, focusing on that is going to be, how do we do the show. We tried out doing an interview and having somebody on. I thought that went really well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I had so much fun with Tommy. Tommy was a
Yeah,
blast.
we got
Yeah.
to pick out new stuff. Definitely, I would in the future. I guess we were just
Mhm.
talking about, since you brought up YouTube and those things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to do more interviews, and I think we talked about it a little bit. You would like to do
Yeah.
that too.
Shout out to Ella Freya, by the way, for noticing me. Thank you for noticing.
You.
My
Uh
heart kind of
oh,
sank when she literally gave me a shout out. So I'm like, wow. And then
that's awesome.
I was kind of like, for lack of a better term, I was kind of tongue tied. I didn't know what to do. I thought about it, and it's like, okay, Jason and I like doing podcasts. Why don't we just invite her over to to sit in with us, join the Discord server, and then talk about her experience about being the face model of Ashley Graham in Resident Evil 4.
Mhm.
So um s- the thing about me is sometimes I like preparing for an interview. I like preparing. I don't like being spontaneous sometimes, or I struggle with being
Mhm.
spontaneous. That's why sometimes what I do is I tend to RP a lot in games because that kind of gives me a little bit more of a practice in how to be spontaneous. On top of that, it's also playing games like Squad and doing these kinds of podcasts. It helps build that muscle memory of being spontaneous. But still, I still want to create like a list of flow on how that plays out. Just the structured. Uh, it just gives me some sort of comfort bubble. so,
Yeah,
so I've been overthinking things.
yeah. It's structured
Yeah,
out a little bit, but you got to see where the
it flows, right?
conversation goes too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's what's so weird about like even a lot of TV interviews. I find it really
Mm-hmm.
weird where they're like talking about something and I'm like, oh, that could lead into something, but it's like, oh, they only have 15 minutes to ask questions, and I want to make
Right,
sure to get these 5 answered. It's like,
right.
come on.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of leaves you hanging
Clearly, you
to
should
a
have
point,
talked more
right?
about that thing.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that's definitely something that I've noticed also with some talk shows where they kind of rush it through. And quite frankly, I think that's still an art in itself. But at the same time, you just don't get the meat of it. It's rushed to your point.
Mhm.
It's not like just two buddies like us just talking about things without worry about time or something. I mean, we have a set time, but it's just like just letting the person vent. So you kind of get to know more about the person rather than just, oh, this is just a fixed interview and this they have to answer this set of questions and that's it.
Yeah.
So if I maybe move forward from that, that's something that we'll be working on probably in future contents, probably interviewing some some cosplayers too, or some people who enjoy specific crafts. I'll try to get in touch with them and see if you guys have anybody in mind. Feel free to comment them on our video so that we can also see if we can arrange that meeting together. Just let us know. But
Or
one
or
thing,
if it's just somebody who does something cool. Like if
yeah,
you're out there and you do something cool, like maybe it's your job, maybe whatever, you know, leave a comment, let us know. We'll reach out, we'll interview anybody. Like it doesn't have to be somebody super special. I think it's
yeah,
just cool to get to know people. It'd be cool to, if you're I've been looking at like small farm, right? Like that's
hmm
the future goal, like 30 acres, small little piece of property that's mine with a house and some
right,
cows, that kind of thing. If anybody knows stuff about that, I'd love to talk to you. I got questions.
yeah.
I got lots of questions.
We need advice. Make us smarter.
Make us smarter. Teach us, oh mighty teacher.
Yeah. But that being said, moving on from YouTube and Facebook content creation, there's one thing I find, and this is probably known knowledge already with Twitch, but considering how Twitch works, basically it's community driven, right? Being a sole Twitch streamer, unless you're super pretty or you're showing off some ass or boobs, it's usually an uphill battle to do it on your own, right? So,
Even
what
even
some
with even with all that, it is an uphill battle. That's why
right.
Twitch is so strong with people networking because they're
Yeah,
trying to pass their audience back and forth, right? So
exactly. So that was one thing that I kind of find interesting. So for you guys who's been following my Facebook page, you guys probably know already that I do play games like Final Fantasy. The thing with Final Fantasy is they have a club scene there. And what I find interesting about that is the fact that these DJs all network are intertwined with each other. So some of these DJs do some shows and they get a following out of the Final Fantasy community. That's their captive market. And then they just raid each other's
yeah,
streams. And that helps build their following. I mean, I came to a point where even if I'm not in game, I just pop Twitch because I like the music while I'm doing other things. I
yeah. If
follow
you're listening to
and
like you're talking about like the DJ groups that
yeah,
they basically
exactly.
are passing from DJ to DJ to DJ, almost so much so
Right.
that it's like a 24-hour loop that they're
Yeah.
like caught in of passing their audience forward.
But at the same time, you kind of discover new talent just through that. Like say for example, I follow this DJ, her name's DJ Amelia, and she when she rated another DJ, his name is Satoshi, I kind of enjoyed his set list and you kind of like follow the next one because you kind of have a feel like okay maybe the next DJ that they'll be rating is somebody who shares the same kind of like music taste and the same style with a slight touch of their own. And that's so you kind of it's more like imagine if Elon Musk refers you, Jason, to do some XYZ, right? So it's like because Elon Musk has a following, people would like come to you and say, "Oh, okay, because Elon Musk said this, well, you must be really good," something, something, something like that. I don't know if that kind of came, that made sense, but that was how it kind of felt like. So every time they go live, I just pop them on my other monitor and then just let the music fly while I'm working on other things too,
That's
or
your
playing
radio
even.
station, is what you're saying.
Yeah, technically, yeah. But what's awesome about that, that also got me thinking, okay, if that kind of works with Twitch, why don't I try and invest in DJ equipment and software, and then I'll probably do the same exact thing. I mean, I like music, I know how to produce, I know how to do stuff, but and I like playing games, so why don't I just turn that into productivity? And that's the thing with the way we think now, me, Jason, and I. It's more of like, how do we make the things we enjoy and how do we turn the things we enjoy into something productive? How do
Yeah,
we put it out there? So when Jason approached me about the whole podcast thing, it that was this is this is why I hopped into it immediately in a snap without even a second thought because
because of
we
me.
both liked.
Oh,
Well, yeah. Well, of course. I can't say no to Jason. Jason is my buddy. He's my brother from another, mother father. But the thing about that is I was sold when he said we like talking about stuff. Why don't we make that a hobby? So it's basically turning the things that we talk about in a mundane manner into something more productive that we can share with the world and hear other people's opinions about. If that makes sense. yeah, that was it. So it's like, use the thing. So to Jason's point, he likes a lot of the household stuff now, right? Like the cleaning, building farms, and all that. And that's something that we can work on, which probably might help other people. Like, hey, this is some things that we actually learned. Maybe we can talk talk about it and create content out of it. And maybe it might help other people. So what's happening is we're learning ourselves, but at the same time we're also adding value to other people. you know Maybe that's something that they can also um pull some wisdom from.
At least a nickel. We got at least a nickel of education in here.
Nickel of imagination. Dude,
We're
my
passing that a
brain
little bit.
my brain's typically empty, by the way, so there's just like cobwebs in my head at the moment. Brain dead after work. But yeah, going back to the Twitch thing, I kind of enjoy the DJ scene. The reason behind that is because it's not like your typical streams where people just talk and play games, and do stuff. It's the thing about that is the way I view streaming sometimes is, especially if you have a following, is your audience will dictate what you do sometimes. And sometimes that it's easy to mess up. Sometimes there's no filter to it, and once what's in the internet stays in the internet. The thing with DJing is you're letting other people enjoy a certain type of music without you having to, you know, to say something that you might
Right.
screw up on or something like that. It's just pure music, and it transcends borders. It doesn't. You don't need to learn English. You don't need to 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 be fluent at it, just to enjoy it. You like the beat, cool. Join in the fun, party. But yeah, those are some of the things that I've been discovering just studying social media and content creation in general. It's there's a lot to take in, and it's figuring out. To me, it's always been application, right? Like once you learn something, how do you apply that?
Mhm.
It's always the application part. So on top of that, one of the things that I know for a fact that um, I wanted to work on in myself is also the communication piece. Like sometimes, if you remember, Jason, when we started playing, I think this was way back 2019, when we first met. It There were times when I kind of struggled to point out and communicate certain things. Like, okay, there's something on the ground. There's enemy at a
Yeah.
specific location. When we were but basically the way I give instructions is like, enemy here. Like, we're here. I remember you screaming at me, saying like,
Where is here?
yeah, exactly. So that's been something that I've been trying to work on in myself, because I kind of know that that side of communication is something I struggle with. Sometimes I'm not very specific with my instructions.
I
So
think
aside from
being
go
more
ahead.
descriptive is something everybody could use, right? And it
Mm,
makes things just better. Like if you can describe something, then you get to paint a picture to the people you're talking to, and I mean, you show
mm,
them a picture, but you make more words to just have
yeah,
that better description on what you're trying to say. Like if you're somebody who describes something very bluntly, very short, it's a good
yes,
thing in most cases.
yes,
It's like
yeah,
3 words description, you get the gist of it. But in reality, when doing things like this or public speaking or
mm,
communicating an idea, more
right,
descriptors is better. Like you should have like five to six strong description words and maybe some soft ones mixed in there too.
right. Because what you're doing is you're painting a picture with your words, right? Um, I like the fact that you brought that up, because there's a there's an application for everything. You mentioned something short, blunt, and concise type of description. And you mentioned also long, um, for the lack of a better term, long detailed description. So to your point, the long detailed descriptions works well for platforms like this when you're trying to sell an idea and you're trying to paint a picture in the minds of an audience. Great. I love that. I love that fact that you brought that up. But one thing I learned are the short, concise, and blunt descriptions. And where I learned this, believe it or not, from gaming.
Yeah,
Um,
because you need to
I've been
say
pl-
what's going on
good.
quickly and effectively.
Exactly. So that's something. So for you guys out there, one thing I encourage you guys to do is to try to see gaming from a different light. I learned this because Jason and I we play a game also called Squad, and what Squad does is it kind of teaches you a lot of soft skills that you know may be useful for later down the line. A really good example of that is what we were just talking about, which is specifically describing things and communicating effectively. You got to tell them what you're seeing, where it's located, and what it's doing. Just short, concise. Three line sentences.
Yep.
Enemy enemy tank facing this direction um in this mark.
But
That's
in
it.
writing and
Mm,
like writing podcasts,
right.
other things, work could be or could not be. Usually, work you want to keep everything you're talking about. If you're talking to
Mm.
somebody and telling them something and giving them a direct idea, and you're
Mhm.
taking more than three descriptors per like idea
Right.
set, you're wasting time. People are gonna sit on the meeting and they'll be like, come on, get to the point, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where in a situation like this, people want more descriptors. Like, what do you need to tell me exactly? What's it look like? How does it feel?
Mhm.
How'd you feel because of the thing?
Yep.
So it's not only just more descriptors, but more types of descriptors um, that you're kind of intermixing there.
Still 100% agreed. It's and this is some things that you kind of start to see and discover if you try to like open up your mind and see things from a different light. Like what is the world trying to teach you, or what are the things that you're doing trying to teach you, and how can you evolve and grow out of that? So one of the things why we love doing this, I personally love doing this podcast with Jason, is because it teaches me that, like, how to be descriptive, how to sell an idea, because at the end of the day we're always selling ourselves. Like you're always trying to sell an idea. You know how sometimes you get frustrated because somebody will never get you? It's probably because, you know, you kind of struggle with explaining your thoughts and ideas. And not everybody is very gifted with that. That's something that's a given, right? But at least it's something that you can actually exert the effort of in trying to improve upon yourself, if that makes sense. And that's something that, hearing Jason's feedback, he's very patient enough. He's very patient with me sometimes, but I kind of take that into heart, and I try to find ways on how can I do better. So I put myself in situations where I have no other choice but to do it, which is sometimes gaming, sometimes work, sometimes other things where it has to be done, and it builds your muscle memory. So it's that was something that kind of ate up my time for the entire month last month. It's just, quick, concise communication. And then the thing with the squad structure is it's almost similar to an actual corporate structure where you have squad leaders, you can call them probably managers, and then you have fire team leaders, which could be your own supervisors, right? And then you have a commander who could be probably executive level in a company. So when the commander kind of gives you an instruction, you have to find a way to communicate that effectively to your squad mates in the same way as what's going on the ground to your superiors and other squad leaders. So um that uh, it's very interesting that I kind of see it that way because it's very eye opening. Like, oh my god, this is exactly what I'm struggling with in sometimes at work. So I got to do better here. How do I do this? And then you start watching videos, you start, trying to learn, and then you practice. And the thing with squad is sometimes it's very daunting to lead a squad. People shy away from it. They create a squad, leave, and drop it on somebody else. So, um, but I'm a kinesthetic learner, and it's very important for me to do things to learn it.
I gotta
And
touch
that's
it.
where,
I gotta
yeah, I
smell it.
gotta touch it.
I
Yeah.
gotta taste it.
I gotta make I gotta make the mistake.
Yeah.
So and feel the burn in order for it to stick. So that's the that's that's something that, it's brutal because sometimes they could throw shade at you like, "Ah, this squad leader sucks," and nobody likes that. But you gotta be emotionally, mature enough to take that in.
Yeah, I
So
mean, there's
it
always gonna be people who are
yeah,
gonna be negative, and it's good to have negative people. I
exactly.
think too much now we get complacent with positivity. Like, oh, it's
Mhm.
got to be positive. Everything positivity. This, if you ever
Mhm.
disagree, it's no. Negative is
You're
good. Like
yeah.
positive's good. Negative's good too. Because it's good to
Yeah.
have somebody to tell you you're stupid sometimes. Because sometimes you're
Right.
stupid. Sometimes I'm stupid. Like sometimes we're all stupid, and it's good to,
Mhm.
to have somebody, the negative person around you, be like, "You're stupid," and then you think about it like, "Am I stupid?" While the other people are being like, "You're the best. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're not doing anything. You're digging yourself into a pit. Keep doing it. It's your
Yeah.
life." Like, what?
That's for the lack of a better term, isn't that what you call false positivity,
I
right?
guess
So,
if
like
that's the term for it.
blind optimism.
Yeah.
You yeah, you know it sucks, but it's like you just keep pushing them just because, you don't wanna hurt their feelings. And, that's definitely something that I need to work on, quite frankly. Like, okay, and coo the cool thing about that is sometimes gaming allows me to be like that because there's some sort of anonymity. So, but and until you build that kind of muscle memory, you build that confidence. Sooner or later, I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. Even to my guys right now, it's the same exact thing. Like if I feel something's awry, I just call them out. All right, this is stupid. Why did this happen? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So
It's hard to convey sometimes the
mm,
I'm mad at the thing. Like I'm not
mm,
mad at you.
yes,
I'm mad
yes,
at the situation, the thing that happened, why
right,
it happened, but I'm not mad at you for it happening. You were doing XYZ. It's just we got to fix it.
right. But exactly that, because sometimes people kind of take that differently. So it really requires a lot of, you know, um, it's for the person who's expressing. I think they have their every right to do so because for them that's the way that they convey the message to vent out that frustration.
Armor
So
up.
yeah, exactly. For the one receiving, you got to be um mentally mature enough to actually accept that to a point where, okay, I'm sure this is not what he means. I'm sure he means well, he or she means well, and what can I do to avoid this from happening? So
Accept
it's a
criticism
yeah,
and think about it. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, look at the
right.
negative, think about it, go with it. That's fine. Um, don't dwell. You don't have to dwell on all the negative things,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
should look at them and digest them. I think
yeah.
it's kind of like food. That's because I use the
Mm-hmm.
word digest. It makes me think food. So
You're making me
you
hungry.
may be allergic to something, but little
Right.
bits of that something could make you immune to that reaction. They do this a lot with like peanut allergies and stuff. My nephew's allergic to everything, but they've gotten him
Wow.
over a bunch of allergies um, by just giving him little doses of it. You know, whether
Mm-hmm.
touching it or eating the thing in small amounts, but always got the EpiPen ready. Uh,
Right.
Same thing with like negative messaging and comments and things coming at you and criticism. You,
Right.
you need to take it, you need to digest it because it'll make you more tolerable to it in the future.
Right. Then you also learn how to deflect it too. Um,
Oh, we lost Johnny. Froze. He may be having some internet issues. I may be having some internet issues. So we were just talking about how to kind of taking criticism. We started with kind of describing and how that goes. It looks like John may have cut out his internet. It happens sometimes. Hope they don't have any storms or anything. John never tells me. It just ends up like, oh yeah, the Philippines were hit by a giant storm. And he's like, my house is underwater. So the door opened.
here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
There he is.
My kitty cat just killed me.
Oh, it was the kitty cat, did it?
Yeah. He was on top of the router. It dropped. I got disconnected. I'm sorry, people.
The cat didn't like
It
it.
ha Nah, he's been a naughty little bugger. So, I had to punish him by hugging and squeezing him and you know, I like doing that.
Yep, the cat knocks down your router like once a week at least. Get some double-sided tape and stick your router on it so,
You
so
know,
it can't fall.
at this point, dude, I'm already thinking of actually duct taping my cat to the wall.
Duct taping the cat. Just,
No, I'm kidding. I'm
meow,
kidding. I'm kidding.
meow.
I love my little buddy. Um. So yeah, it's he, he's my child.
You ever played the Postal games?
Also games now.
Oh,
Do
so
tell.
Postal 3 came out and it's like a 3D shooter, and then I think the fourth one just came out. And one of the things you do is you use cats as silencers. So you'll
What?
pick up a cat and you shove the rifle up its butt, and that's
Oh
your
my god!
silencer.
Can you spell this out for me, Ruffle?
Postal,
Oh,
Postal
postal.
3
Okay.
and Postal 4. 4 is the
Oh,
new
I
one.
see it. I see it.
They're pretty low budget games. I think in the third one you have to take out an actor or
Po-
something to get
Postal
your book
2. You
signed.
got yeah, Postal 2 Paradise Lost, and then you got Postal 4 No Regrets. Uh, no regrets. It's not regrets. It's regrets. Oh my god. They intentionally did that, didn't they?
Probably. It's a gnarly game, but it's good. It's
No.
if you want some
That
politically incorrect game, that's the Postal games.
oh my god. You know, speaking of games, dude, like one of the things that I've also been doing for the last month is I kind of met with a couple of my buddies. And the thing about my IRL buddies, local buddies, I mean, is they're usually like experts at a specific field. Like, say for example, I got an AdWords guy who's really good at, you know, AdWord marketing. I got an SEO guy who's really good at SEO, web design guys, you know, and
Mhm.
artists and all that. And sometimes when we go on a meeting just to talk about random things. One thing that we talked about, which was really interesting, was because they know I like social media and gaming. So they talked about something where they know somebody who creates games. They sell them on Steam for a cheap price, probably $5,
Mhm.
max of 10. They're story-based games.
Oh,
But what and here's the interesting thing about what they do. They create the games based out of keywords that they've researched, that are commonly searched. They don't just create any game just for the sake of creating a game. They create a game that has high keyword search.
but they're just like
It's
slapped
it.
together short story games, like for $5.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of something like that. And what's interesting about that is it's got a start and a finish. And that's all they do. Basically, they say for example, people search for a specific game, right? For example purposes, let's just say Valorant. Just for
Mhm.
example, I know Valorant is not a story based game, but you know it's a very it's a popular one, right? So what they do is they pull some of the keywords out of that game, and then they create like a clone of it with its own twist.
Huh.
So, for the lack of a better term, it's more like a I don't want to sound racist here, but you know, it's like the Chinese way of doing things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I I've seen games like that on Steam where it's like, Red Dead Redemption comes out, and then like 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, a game comes out that's called like Red Dead Redomination, or it's like
Yeah, yeah, something like that. They're feeding off the success of one game.
Red
And
Alive Cowboy.
y- yeah, dude, what's interesting about this is it actually works
Oh, yeah.
because, you know, if you say for example you got what globally 100, let's just say probably 100,000, just to be maybe optimistic and not too optimistic, not too pessimistic, buying your game. So that's 100,000 times, let's say, $5.
Right, $500,000.
Exactly.
After
And then
fees and all that, probably like, I don't know how much Steam takes. They take their cut, but
right, but that and that kind of blew my mind. It's like, you know, someday I'd like to actually, you know, create my own games and content and all that, but it's it still blows my mind and how their system of approach in creating games. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like the copycat approach.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is this happens with movies all the time, and they're profitable.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
Avengers will come out, they make a knockoff version called like Justifiers, and they
B
they make
movies.
a little thing. Yeah, these B movies that
Right, right.
are this adjacent. Like they are that,
Yeah.
but they're adjacent to it. We've changed the names, we changed the
It's like
and those
it's
they
like
make money.
Avengers. Exactly, because they're feeding off the success of that. It's like Avengers on Wish. or you know that meme where you know you're out in the store with your mom. It's like, hey mom, can I get this toy? And then no, we got that toy at home, and then the toy at home is like a knockoff version of
It's carved out of
it.
wood.
Yeah.
You want an Xbox? I made you an Xbox. See, you can put stuff in it.
um,
And it's X shaped. Like
yeah.
what?
Okay. Oh my god,
I
that's
put it on a
hilarious.
turntable. Now it's an Xbox 360.
but that was really something that I find kind of interesting in the way they do things. And then um you by the rate that you go with it, you can accumulate enough funds to actually create AAA quality content. Like, when you because e- everything starts off bad. Like, especially when you're starting off. Sometimes you just don't have anything at all. Some YouTubers probably can do it because they have the resources, or some content creators can do that because they have the resources, the time. Um, or sometimes like they learn from their past mistakes, create a new channel, and then just polish it from there. You know,
Yeah.
so there that's it's very interesting how that one plays out, because it kind of you kind of learn to connect the dots from there. That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get it. I
Mm,
get it.
yeah. But that's pretty much how my whole month went. It's just a matter of like constant learning of, okay, what can we do to get better?
And
And this is
I've
why
been
we
watching a lot of education YouTube. Um,
Mhm.
Also, like, just I'm looking to build a shed, so I've been watching people
Right,
build sheds. Like, I got
right.
pour concrete. I'm watching people pour concrete and talk about how to pour concrete. Um, that would be a cool thing we could have, on one Tuesday or Thursday. We share the
Dude,
videos of like our best education videos that we watched. Um,
yeah.
we don't really need to show them, and like it's not like a reaction thing, but we can go through and have some recommendations for people who might have projects or
I'm down
whatnot.
with that. And then we can actually talk about that segment too. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, and relate to it basically. It's almost like a reaction, sure, but it's more of like reflection than reaction. Like, how do you apply it, kind of deal.
yeah, and
I'm down.
mostly about the channel that I'm watching it on because I watched one and they're really
Mhm.
good and they're set out and the education. You know how they say comedy happens in the wide frame?
Yeah.
Education's the same way. When it's an education video and it's so close to like the
Mhm.
work area or the person, I
Yeah.
get less out of it. But when it's a wider angle on the person and you can see them moving, talking, grabbing
Mhm.
the things, that to
Uh-huh.
me is way better than that really close up, like, here's how you do the thing, but you can only see this part of the thing they're working on. Like,
Mhm.
I want to see the project.
Look, like the whole I see what where you're coming from there. You don't want to zoom in, um like micro thing. You want the whole picture of how he does it, or maybe a
Yeah.
mixture of both. You think?
Well, yeah, sometimes you zoom in for the thing, but when you're explaining the grander plans,
Hmm.
a wide shot is better.
Yeah, that actually boils that I can connect that to our topic earlier about positivity and negativity, because growing, as you grow, you kind of learn to value the balance. So there's always like, okay, you want that positivity, but you also need that negativity, and you want to balance them both. Going back to your point there, the zoomed in and the zoomed out. I think that's where balancing that out kind of helps, especially with the pacing, and then understanding the the nits, the bolts and the screws and bolts of it, and then the
Here's and bolts.
grander, yeah, scheme of things. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. But I think
Yeah.
anything should have an overview. Like,
Right.
and it
Uh,
helps with those education videos to have that
mm.
overview shot, not that tight in. Imagine
Y-
if I told you, like, we're going to build a house, but I only show you one wall. I
Yeah.
want to see the project. Like, where is that wall going in comparison to the whole thing? But I think
Ye-
that's gonna probably call it actually for today. We've hit our
Yeah.
hour mark. We just
Yep.
really wanted to get back into it. I know we don't have like a specific subject. We'll get something a little more put together for Thursday. But
Hmm.
we just wanted to kind of update, talk to each other, what's been going on, and I think that went really well.
Yep.
John, you the man.
Well, well, I couldn't have done it without you, Jason, of course. So you know, we've always been a team. So uh,
Do
appreciations to you,
do all
my
the
good sir.
things you do to a video on whatever platform you're watching this on. You can
Yep.
like, subscribe, do a little
Comment.
dance, hit the dislike button 8 million times, whatever you want to do. It's been Titular Heads, and we're out of
Yep.
this bitch.
Catch y'all next time.